Hi, welcome to Cup of Crone. I'm Audrey. I am your witch in the Witch Talk Tower. I am a Crone. This is my cup. I want to thank you guys so much for being very patient this week about me dropping a couple of different things. I actually was in the emergency room last week. And I found out something, and I'm okay. I swear I'm okay. But I had to take some time to rest and chill out, and no, it wasn't the coronavirus. Just a couple of things I want to go over today. Halloween sewing, which is, yes, the correct name for Halloween is sewing. Sewing is coming to us fastly approaching on a full moon in Taurus on Saturday. So I'm telling you guys very carefully, like if you're going to be trick-or-treating, if you're going to be doing these things, something in my neighborhood that we did is that what I did is that I bagged the candy, like goodie bags for like a kid birthday party, and I Lysoled all the candy just to make sure that everything was good beforehand, because you don't realize how many hands they swap from, and it's not just like kids swapping candy, but also from the manufacturer standpoint, and then traveling, and then packaging, and it's better be safe than sorry. So I Lysoled all the candy before I did that, and I prepackaged it. Also, I set it out on the door with a really cute pumpkin setup, and that's a good way for the kids to have trick-or-treating. You could also do trick-or-treating and like fun at home sewing, or holiday, or Dias de Muertos, the Day of the Dead celebrations inside the house. You know, there's so many celebrations that you can do. You can pumpkin carve, you can bake, you can watch movies and have like a little Halloween celebration inside. I will go over how I celebrate sewing with me and my family, because for us it's highly respected and reverent holiday. So I'll go over that during my sewing special. So that'll happen. So what we're going to do today is that I know I'm supposed to be talking about the African deities, but I've been reading this book, The Pregnant Goddess, and something came across in this book that I'm going to be referencing today that goes over the Maid Mother Crone. If y'all realize that the Witch Talk signal we have is the triple goddess sign, or the 3 moons, 2 crescent moons, and then the full moon in the middle, which signifies, the beginning of life, the middle of life, and the ending of life, but also it signifies the Maid Mother Crone aspect, that roles and things that a woman learns throughout her lifetime. And those are some things I want to go over today. So, and I'm going to be smashing a lot of stereotypes that you just assume out of these roles. So we're going to, first I want to sit there and say that life is hard. There's a lot of things that as women, we go through and we have to experience, and the emotionally, physically, and spiritually that we go through on a day-to-day basis, and it's hard, and it's something that not everyone can comprehend, but it's something that women can, that it unites women and brings us together and supports each other. And then if you're watching this, it doesn't matter if you're a biological woman, if you're in transition, if you're trans, if you are non-binary and you embrace your feminine and masculine, this is for you. If you identify as a woman, you are a woman. So, now that I got that out of the way, so let's go over and talk about a couple things. First, I'm going to talk about the Maiden. Now, you see the Maiden typically portrayed as a young woman, valianting in white, with purity and with like absolute just, give me a second. I can actually have a good prediction of that. Ha! The Maiden. The Maiden. She's usually depicted with flowers, youth, imagination, creativity, naivety, innocence. But that's really it. For years, we've kind of forced, Christian or monotheistic beliefs on, they just kind of force it on our patronesses or our goddesses, which is not true. Which honestly, the Maiden does signify creativity, fantasy, hopefulness, the beginning of life, the beginning of your venture as a woman. It signifies the dreamer, the one that has abundance of hope. It signifies all these things. But most importantly, it signifies freedom. Freedom from social constructs. And the book that I'm referencing, as you know, okay, just to give you a heads up about this book gives you a journey on the spiritual side of being pregnant and being a mother. But not just being a mother, but also being made mother of Crone. It also covers, if you are a mother, read this book. If you're trying to be a mother, read this book. It covers postpartum. It covers it covers connection. It covers miscarriages. It covers like energy work. It covers gods and goddesses goddesses that you want to call on while you're pregnant, and it helps you spiritually guide yourself through motherhood. It's wonderful. Definitely get it. Definitely get it. So, as I was saying, freedom from social constructs. There are forced expectations and pressure to look a certain way, to be a certain way, to hell. If you live as a woman for a day, women are supposed to have big boobs, tiny waist, big ass, thick thighs, or no thick thighs, but with a thigh gap, and long hair, open mouth, open legs. That's what society forces on us. Okay? Really look at the dieting and beauty industry and fashion, just straight. Okay. The Maiden signifies freedom from that. She is who she is, and she defines herself by who she is. And she is free from those forced peer pressure. She's willing to be and grow as the kind of woman that she wants to be. She's also free from imposed responsibility. And I'm going to quote the book on this. Beholden to no one but herself, the Maiden makes her own decision and applies her own energies to the areas and issues to which she feels drawn to apply the most. Self-motivated. She works where she feels she is needed and where her efforts both yield personal and universal benefit. So, the Maiden has the ability to go wherever the wind carries her. She doesn't have anything nailing her to the ground. Her roots aren't set. She doesn't have to By the way, the music isn't mine. By the way, if you hear in the background, I do not own the rights to this music. Just play it in the background. I'll put it in my bio. Okay. So this is like, she can move, she can travel, she can embrace different things, she can go her own path and build her own way. You know, in society, I want to do it like Robert Frost. You know, there's a road less traveled and the road that's definitely been traveled. You know, the maiden creates her own path. She ventures through the woods and she forges and creates her own path. And that is what is being youth is all about. Is figuring out who you are, what you want, and what are you willing to do to get it. And it's also getting to know yourself and the kind of person that you are, and also making a plan the kind of person you want to be. You know, I will say this, because I grew up in a very constrictive household, and it's not because my mom kind of took my dad's beliefs and like thought we had to fit in this perfect figure because my dad was a preacher, and you know, all those societal expectations that are forced upon us as women. It wasn't until my early 20s that I started just becoming my own person. That I had goals of the kind of woman that I wanted to be and the kind of person I am now. I wanted to be a woman that was respected, not because of her beauty, but because of her mind and her heart. I want to be a compassionate woman. I want to be an empathetic woman. I want to be an intelligent woman. I want to be a woman who had leadership qualities, who was shrewd and intellectual, who was able to create a room and command a room to inspire others to change. I wanted to be a woman who let love and compassion and empathy guide her steps. I wanted to be a woman who could take care of herself. I wanted to be a woman who would be able to fight and protect. That her ability to, her fierceness goes across every aspect of who she was. She loves fiercely. She fought fiercely. She led fiercely. And those are all things that I wanted to be. And I can honestly say that I have achieved that. That I put stock in my intelligence. And I put stock in my heart and my spiritual growth versus the superficial things that society wants you to focus on. I wanted to be the kind of woman that loved myself completely and utterly. That I would fall in love with myself every day I woke up. And there are some days, and I can honestly say this, there are some days where I'm just like, wow, I can't believe I am this woman. Like, I can't believe that I am this woman, that we have come so far. But also, there is so much where I'm just like, okay, I've accomplished where I wanted to be in a maiden standpoint. Now, where do I want to accomplish when I'm a mother? And that's what we're going to get to. Freedom of expectations via the maiden. There is no forced role on the maiden. She doesn't take up any role at all. She doesn't have to be anything. She doesn't have to wear a hat, which signifies who she is. So she can define her own successes and failures. She can design exactly what I was saying. She can design what she wants and who she wants to be and where she fails out and where she succeeds. You know, and I'll use this example. One of my biggest failures in life was that I felt like I couldn't protect my little sister as much as I possibly could. That's where I felt like I was one of my biggest failures. That I felt like I could have protected her more and spared her so much horror and trauma that she had to experience. But one of my biggest successes that I will ever admit in this lifetime is that I helped build the kind of woman that my little sister is. Because she's smart, she's intelligent, she's fierce, she's loving, she's shrewd, she has a heart that can't be defined, or like you can't put it and describe it in words. She has a mindset. She is fierce. And when I say fierce, it's that she has a fire in her where no one can take advantage of her. No one can outwit my little sister. Good luck. She has a fiery tongue and a fiery mind and she's fiercely and intelligent, and it baffles me sometimes because how smart she is. And that she's going to be an incredible mother. And she is an incredible woman. So that is what having a hand in that and seeing her grow into that is probably one of my biggest successes. And that's how a maiden defines her success and failures. Now, I'm going to read this part because the next part that Aaron shares is freedom from sexual roles. And this is what shocked me to pieces. Was that when you sit there and you look at a maiden, you automatically think purity, virginity. You think that she is, but a traditional maiden is a woman that is not married. That's why maid of honors and matron of honors. Maid of honors are women who are not married. Matron of honors are the ones who are. Haha. See? Welcome to my mind game. But I'm going to quote this from Arwen, because I think she describes it beautifully. The maiden doesn't play power games when it comes to sex and relationships. Functioning without social expectation, she refuses to be defined by sexual experience and activity. This also means that the lover is part of the aspect. For the maiden as a lover shares herself freely and without expectation with her partners. The term virgin originally meant a woman not married or otherwise associated legally with the man, or without the responsibility of a family. This also implies a self-sufficient woman, as well as those who consider part of her father's family. When taken in this respect, the maiden certainly indicates an aspect fully defined by herself and only herself and no other. How long does the maiden aspect last? As stated before, at no time does any aspect cease to exist in the individual. Rather, there are times in our lives when one aspect flows into the forefront and the others recede slightly, when offering their freedom, wisdom, and energy, simply not to the same intensity as they have done in other times. That's that's a misconclusion that I had when it came to this, was I thought that the maiden ended once you become a mother. But there are certain aspects of the maiden that I cling to and I will always cling to. Not having, like, my freedom, not having societal expectations, being able to choose who I am and where I want to be, being able to choose where my failures and where my successes are. And I thought those things ended because I got married, because I want to be a mom. And it was very eye-opening for me, because I was like, I don't like to fit in social constructs. I am a person who fights and fights hard to be her own woman, who doesn't get defined by her sexual activities, who doesn't get defined by her social roles, who doesn't get defined by any of it. And that's something that I absolutely love. And that's something that is the aspect of the Maiden that I wanted to share with you guys. And I will share Mother and Crone in 2 different episodes, because I feel like there's a lot that needs to be unpacked when it comes to it. But I hope this helped with you guys. We're going to be going over those 3 aspects this week, taking time off from the deities, because we're going to be talking about African deities last. But because it is the week of Samhain, and just to let you guys know, Samhain's Eve is Halloween, but Samhain lasts until November 2nd. So, keep that heads up for you guys. So, go ahead, have lots of fun. We will go over exactly what I do on Samhain and how this witch celebrates. So, have lots of fun. Be safe this week. Congratulations on making it to Wednesday. So, love you guys. Be safe, be careful, and merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again, and be blessed.